Yeah, so I thought I'd show you what is what's inside the hive and the honey we're going to extract. This is a frame, and as you can see, most of it is covered in capped little cocoons that contains the honey that the bees will save for winter. There's no larvae or anything in there. That's just beeswax covering honey. So I'm going to scrape that off using this scraping tool right here, and then I will scrape it all into the sieve, and gravity and warmth, i.e. my fire, will do the rest. It will separate the honey. It will allow the honey to drain away from the beeswax. So, see if I can show you all what's going to happen here. So I'm going to get my scraper, and I'm going to scrape the frame, basically removing the honey. Whilst Kari, the lorikeet, watches in anticipation, because Kari loves honey. And that's basically, for those who don't know, bee vomit. What that happens is the bee will eat the nectar from the flowers or the plants, whatever they might be feeding from. Now, the misconception, as I always thought, was that all of the pollen around the feet of the bee, when you see a bee close up, you'll see little patches of pollen around their feet, and I've always assumed that that's the honey, but it's not. That pollen you see around their feet is nothing but pollen for pollinating other plants. It's just something they collect whilst they're eating the pollen. What a bee does is eats the pollen and basically digests it, puts it in its guts, and eats it. Basically, the bee will get back to the hive, where that bee will then regurgitate the pollen it's eaten, which is the first stage of honey production. Then another bee. Now, I'm not 100%. I kind of get the idea, but another bee will then eat it and then regurgitate it elsewhere. It could be regurgitated several times by several different bees before it's then stored in these out of the way, in the the octagon, the frames here, where it will either be it's mostly stored for future use, where they will then leave it in the store and then open it to feed the young, or in the winter times use it to feed the hive. Now generally, as far as I'm aware, I'm still only a novice beekeeper, you can't really, especially if you've got multiple hives, you shouldn't really just go and eat this straight out of the hive, because it can suffer from some diseases. Now I'm not 100% sure what these diseases are called or what cause them. Now as far as I'm aware, because I only have the 2 hives, and unfortunately we've had to disband them because a neighbouring hive came and robbed them. And it's quite a newer hive. I'm unlikely to be suffering from the diseases that do permeate within the hive. So this frame here now, I've taken all the honey out of the honey bearing areas, or the stored areas. This is beeswax, basically beeswax. That's just beeswax. Okay, you can heat that, make candles out of it, do whatever you want. We happen to have tons of it. Well, not tons, but a bit of it. So now what I'm going to do with this particular frame here is I'm going to go and water blast it. I will make it all brand new for preparing for next season. And make it all brand new. I've still got, I think, about 7 frames full of honey that I'm not going to propagate, because I'll need that to help establish the new hive in the beginning of summer. So that is basically just beeswax and honey. And I'm going to, many ways to do this. I could spin it. You can put these frames in a spinner, and you spin it, and it just, the gravity just, separates the honey. But what I'm going to do is I put this under my fire and let gravity just remove it, or drip it, let it drip away into that bowl. As you can see, it's almost starting to do there now anyway. And then I'll just be left with husky sort of beeswax. So yeah, just thought I'd share that. And for those of you lucky enough to sample raw honey, I don't eat honey, but raw honey, my God, it's just beautiful. As I say, I don't eat honey, or processed honey, or pasteurized honey, but honey straight out of the hives, if you ever get a chance to give that a go, it is, it's wow. Wow. So anyway, there you go.